Hey family, and welcome back to another episode of Actually, It's Negotiable, where we discuss things non-negotiable, setting boundaries with people, places, and things that do not serve you. But because of your obedience to God, because of compromise, because life throws curveballs, some things may actually be negotiable. I'm your co-host, Ernestine Morrison.
I'm Amber Ty.
In today's episode, we are joined by a phenomenal guest. First of all, reading her bio ain't gonna do no justice. I have to just go ahead and let you know that we have the T-H-E-E, the with a capital T. We have the Tonia Jackson in the building.
Oh my God.
Listen, Tonia is not only just a phenomenal woman, but she is a powerhouse actor. And I don't say that lightly because I don't think everybody can act, to be honest. But Tonia here, baby, is the coach of the coaches. You hear me? This lady is a phenomenal actress. Credits span across film, television, stage. She has multiple credits in every arena, from the stage to the big screen to the little screen. And she just truly has a body of work that is really incomparable.
Yes.
When we talk about the Viola Davises of the world, I think that we will all be mentioning the Tonia Jacksons of the world very, very soon. And I mean that, like, I don't do fluff. I really mean that. Like, when I think of Viola, I think of you. And I think that you haven't got your flowers yet. You haven't got the platform yet, or the it thing that the world knows, but I know. And I know you know. And I know those who know you know. So welcome to
Thank you
Actually,
so
It's Negotiable.
Oh my God.
You done brought her to tears.
I know. I said, wait a minute.
But I mean it. I mean it. Like, I have watched your work. I've watched your work when you didn't even know I was watching your work. I have come to your plays. I've seen you, and I'm like, Amber, it's giving Viola status. Right. It's like, oh wow, she ain't nothing to play with.
Right.
She a little different.
Exactly.
Like, it's actors, it's good actors.
Yes.
But then there's Tonia.
Right.
Like, yeah.
Yes.
So Tonia, what we like to ask everyone is, what does actually it's negotiable mean to you?
Negotiable. That means that thing, you know, when I heard the word and you guys were talking about it, and I don't know why integrity came to my mind. Being honest, being transparent.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I don't know if that matches, but when you guys were saying that, I kept thinking those things, because for me, I'm always in a space where I try to be as honest and as transparent, and I walk through life with integrity. If I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
I hold myself accountable, right? So I hold people accountable, right? The same way that I hold myself accountable. Sometimes I beat myself up because I'm really adamant about that, but now I try to beat myself up with a feather. So I don't know if that matches, but that's what the words that came to my mind when I hear negotiable or non-negotiable.
Right.
And I don't know why, but I just that's what
yeah, no, that's good. That's good.
That makes sense.
Because we speak about non-negotiables, having like hard non-negotiables, like I will not waver on this.
Yeah.
But the title is Actually It's Negotiable, because some things you realize through life, like, actually this is negotiable. Yeah. I may have been hell-bent on something before that I'm not hell-bent on now. Right. Is there something in your life as you've matured and just as you've gone through multiple seasons, is there something that was non-negotiable for you before that's now actually it's negotiable?
I think that probably the way that I used to view the industry and what acting and what moving through the industry looks like. I had hard lines.
Yes.
I had hard lines about social media. I had hard lines about how you're trained. I had hard lines about those things. And now I'm a little bit more flexible because I do realize things have changed.
Yes.
I'm of a particular age. And
season, baby.
Season.
Timeless.
And I have a lot of people that I mentor. And I talk to, and I always I have a lot of young people around me. And what they always say is that I'm a little bit more progressive than women my age.
You know what I mean? Because I'm open.
Right. I understand that something back in 1985 or 1997 might not work for you guys in 2023.
Exactly.
Yes.
Right? Some advice or something I might give to you, it may not work. Because the way that you all move through the world now and the way that we used to move through the world back then is totally different. So I think that I'm flexible now.
Right.
And I didn't used to be.
Right.
And that's what actually it's negotiable means. It's flexibility.
So it's funny that, you know, you're saying that things are negotiable for you now, because in our previous podcast, we had guests on, and typically the older ones, the more seasoned ones, we would ask the question, what's non-negotiable? And they would say, not too many things. And I would kind of be shocked, like, you don't have no non-negotiables, like what? But they would say, through life, they just realized that everything was negotiable. Even for me in my own life, things that I thought or things that people think that should be non-negotiables turned out being negotiable. Losing my mom at a young age. You thought I would be mad and bitter and angry at God my whole life because of the things that I went through. But I realized, no, actually, it's negotiable because my plan was not his plan.
Yeah.
So how did you come to this place? What's your journey? What's your story that you came to this place where, things are actually not written in stone for me as I thought they were before?
When I bought into the fact that God gives his toughest battles to his strongest soldiers. When I realized that one of my spiritual advisors said it's okay to be too black and too free. When I realized that the work, it's an inside job. I am a self-care, self-analyzing junkie.
Yeah.
Every single day, I do an inventory of myself. What were my assets today? What were my liabilities? And I do shadow work. I pray. I meditate every single night and every single day. And with that, I'm in touch with myself. And so the things that have happened to me in my life, I know that there's a reason. They may not feel good, but me being a survivor of sexual abuse, what is that about? That's a testimony that I can help young people with and say, I survived that, right? I shouldn't even be here.
Yeah.
But because, again, God gives his toughest battles to his strongest soldiers, I realized he gave me that for a reason, for me to have a platform, for me to have a testimony to help those young women who think that they cannot, right? I remember being called too black and too ugly, right? And I never bought into that, right? And I said, no, that's not true. This nose on my face and these lips, right? These are beautiful, whether you like it or not. And so I have to stand there and for the young girls who may not be the preference, right? You are the preference. It may not be for those particular people, but you're the preference for somebody.
Yes.
And I stand here with this nose, with this lip, with this black skin and tell you, you can be beautiful. You can be okay.
Yeah.
You are all right.
Yeah.
Right? Just the way you are.
Yeah.
It's not easy all the time, but it's possible, right?
Yeah.
Because I've stepped through that.
Right.
Because I had to fight. Because I'm a recovering addict, right? I've been to the bottom of the bottom of the bottom. And sometimes I took myself there, right? But I brought myself out of that, me and God, and here I stand. Because again, I swear to God, this is not something I heard. This is something I know. It's not a cliche. I absolutely should not be here.
Jesus.
I am a walking miracle.
Wow.
Based on what I've been through. So if I can come up through that, some of this little stuff that people be doing, I'm like, child.
That's our word. We like child.
You know, so I think that that's what it is. You know what I mean?
How do you deal with, one thing I deal with in my life, and I get so sick of it. How do you deal with people trying to define you by your past, by the things that you've gone through? You said you were molested. You said these different things that you even put yourself in that situation. When people label you as that, or they say, this is who you were and this is who you always going to be. How do you combat that?
I consider the source.
Oh, wait. Gotcha. You preaching. You preaching.
You know, considering the source is major key.
I consider the source.
Thank you,
because
God.
if somebody is operating in low self-esteem and low self-worth and they're living in the dark and not the light, of course they're going to bring up my past.
Oh, Jesus.
Man.
I'm a success story. I'm absolutely a success story. And that's not even about ego. That's facts on file.
Oh, no, that's facts. Yeah. My husband said something the other day. He said, I was telling him about a situation. I said, babe, I just don't understand why they don't understand. And it just reminded me of what you said. When people are operating in low vibration, low frequency, low self-worth, they're not capable of understanding.
No.
So what he said you have to say is, you have to just say, I understand why you don't understand.
Right.
I understand why you don't understand. You're not even operating at the frequency. You're not even operating at the level of self-development. You're not even operating at the level of the spiritual realm that we are operating in. And that's why you don't understand. I get it.
And I pray for them.
Let me tell you how you are ministering to me in this moment. And God, I always feel like we think we don't hear God like he told Moses, part the Red Sea and go, like you don't hear this big audible voice. But when I tell you confirmation is God, somebody just told me that yesterday. I'm going through a situation right now And this person's just, and somebody said to me, consider the source. And the fact that you just said that,
Consider the source.
child, I'm about to jump off this microphone and do my shots.
Yes.
Because God is good.
It's true.
He's so good. And I'm telling you, when you know that you are living righteous and you know that you are being obedient, and God takes moments like this and be like, well done, my good and faithful servant. Devil, get thee behind me. Sorry, I'm making this a little personal, but it's true. It's like, dang, you hit the nail on the head. Consider the source.
And I think about God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to the things I can, the wisdom to know the difference. Some stuff you can't change. Some stuff you just can't. There's certain things about me I can't change my skin tone. I can't change my color. I can't change the size of my lips. And you accept, you walk in it.
Yes.
Because if you spend your life running from the things that you cannot change, or the things about you that God gave specifically to you, you're going to forever be spending your life running. And you're never going to walk into what God has for you, specifically for you, because God has an assignment on each and every one of us. It's for you.
Right.
It's not for your neighbor. It's not for your sister. It's for you. So if you spend your life running from the things you cannot change, you'll just be forever running. You'll never be where your feet are.
Yeah. Yeah. And you said something key too, praying for those people, praying for the things that we've talked about, praying for those people who are spitefully using you and talking about you and backbiting and things like that. That is.
Well, yeah, because I had someone in my family, and it did hurt. You know what I mean? I'm extremely sensitive. I don't know if that's the Aquarius in me or the artist in me or just who I am. Someone in my family who I love dearly was talking to my daughter and said, your mom thinks she's better than the family. That's absolutely ridiculous. I'm one of the most humble people on the planet, but I know how she operates. Of course she would say that. I wouldn't expect anything else, but I love her madly anyway. My daughter's like, my mom is totally not like that. But I said, don't let her live. You know, if that's what she thinks, let her have that. We know the truth. God knows the truth. But again, I just consider the source because I know where she is in her life.
That's so good. So you are an extremely accomplished actress. Like I said, we see you on stage, we see you on film, we see you on television. You're actually about to lead a brand new show, a really big show that you can't talk about yet. Can't talk about yet, but you were about to be the lead on a brand new show. And to my understanding, the show they had you in mind. You.
Yes.
Specifically.
And let me tell you something. That story, I'm like, nobody's going to believe this. I had literally, I was going to tape a show that's coming out. And we can't talk about nothing because of the strike. And then there was another show that I already booked. And they wouldn't wait one day for me. And it was like something that could have done something. And I was like, God, I don't know. I don't know what this is. And I was in the fetal position for a minute. Like, God, that hurts. Like, whatever. I am not lying to you. 24 hours later, the phone call came from this producer. And I thought he was kidding. And he said, this is so-and-so, how you doing? I've been thinking about you and I got this role for you that I wrote specifically for you. 24 hours later. And that is really going to be, like when I saw the other project.
This is like, one of those roles that will take you where God has called you to be. And I feel like you've been in the industry over 25 years, right?
Oh, God, yes.
Yeah. And how does it feel in your 25-year journey? All the no's, all the rejection, all the you're not good enough, she's not what we want, she's this, she's that, she's that. That does a lot to us as actors. We're all three actors, but that does a lot to your self-esteem. It does a lot to your self-worth. It does a lot to a lot of things. It's all psychological. But how did it feel to finally get the call that could potentially be the call that we all wait for, the call that we've 25 years in is the call that you've been waiting for? Like, did you cry? Did you bawl?
Absolutely.
Did you pray? Like, what did that feel like? Rub it off on me, please.
No, I was crying. It was it's still surreal.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? I'm like, something's gonna happen. Like, I have to, I hope nothing happens. Like, it was just a surreal moment, but it was me and God. Like, I was in my house. Like, I just kept saying, thank you, God. Thank you, God. Thank you. I just literally kept doing that. And I was weeping. I could not believe it because it was 24 hours after that thing happened.
Wow.
And God said, I have this for you. And I thought like most of my people who are in my circle are extremely spiritual. And one said, I told you that, rejection is protection.
Yeah.
I'm like, girl, get out of here. Yeah. That's just something to say so I don't feel bad.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
But when she said that, I thought about her. It was just that kind of moment where it is that moment where you're like, thank you. That's literally all I kept doing. And then I called the people who I could, like Tequila and a few other people who I trust, and told them, and they who I knew would be happy for me. Because I have people, I can't even believe some of the people in my circle, like we are genuinely happy for each other. Me and a friend went up for something and she beat me for it. We were laughing so hard because I did this thing and she was like, child, I don't even care. And she booked it. We laughed for 20 minutes on the floor. She said, I can't believe they gave that to me. But that's how happy we are. So I calling people and just knowing that I have people who are genuinely happy, that made me feel so much, being able to share it.
It didn't trickle down to me because when I heard it, I was like, when I tell you I was screaming for you, I'm like, because you're just one of those people. I'm like, we haven't been able to build our own personal thing, but I know you through the waves, and I've watched you and I watched your work, and I know your work, and you're one of those people where I'm like, I can't wait for it to happen to her. Like when it happens for her, like I'm gonna be screaming right with her because like you've embodied. Oh, my ring is off. Please, someone go find my ring, please. You have embodied putting in the work.
Yeah. Like
you have worked. Your work is like when I sometimes see the last thing I just saw you in, what was it? The
chicken and biscuits?
I was like, and I saw it a couple times.
I heard it was so good.
I said, she is working.
Oh, I didn't see it. I heard it was
and
so
that was
good.
a comedy. So I was just up there playing. I'm always a little nervous because I'm a dramatic actress. And when I tell you, they were like, girl, I just went. And I said, this is what I'm doing. And some of the stuff was in the moment. Like, because I get caught up. Once I'm in there, I let go. Like, I'm a character actress. Yeah. So I drop in. I'm grounded. I drop in. And stuff just starts to happen.
You were just...
It was so much fun.
I'm sorry.
I'm glad you liked that.
I loved it. I'm sorry. I have to cut really quick. My ring, I just want to make sure because I can't lose that. I think it's right on the corner of this table.
You got it.
Oh, you got it? Okay.
Yeah,
can't come up with that 5 carats missing. Jesus,
listen.
Janitor may come, but somebody you never know. Thank you. Jerry be like, "Where is your ring, child?"
Beautiful.
Yeah, just the level of work that you do as an actor, like your physicality, how it's in your bones, it's in your body, the way you move, the way your bottom lip twitches, just all your physical work. I'm like, can she teach me?
I think that for me too, that's just also if I think about any childhood trauma, like because when I was younger, growing up in Minnesota, being dark skinned was hard for me, because of the way that it is up there. It's just in the world.
How was that? Just even because for those of you who don't know what growing up in Minnesota is, like Minnesota
let me say this, it's the opposite of Atlanta.
Yeah, for sure. Like the opposite.
As far as culture.
Right, yeah.
And it's a lot of, I want to say the right word, mixed race.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And even in my family.
It ain't blackety black.
It's
like
not
Atlanta.
blackety black. No, it's not. And I love it there, all of that. But, it was that. So I've always had to work twice as hard.
Yeah.
And that might have been self-imposed. Like I might have done that to myself. Because, we as brown girl, we got to work. You know how that is. So then I felt like being dark skinned, like I always had to work twice as hard.
Yeah.
So when I do stuff, like I have a role that's coming up, we don't even start rehearsal for like 7 months or something like that. I'm in it. Like I'm already there.
7 months and you're already in the
already
character.
In the script. I was like, I need my hard copy because I need
this
to
is
be
why
there.
you are the
and when
Jackson.
I got that phone call, the producer said, I already know you're gonna do the work. Like that's one of the, because he saw me do some stuff. And
7 months and you already in it?
I'm already in it because I know that I just gotta go there. Because I feel like this. On every city block, there's probably 25 people who want to do what we do, maybe more.
Yes.
And I feel like it's a blessing, it's an honor, it's a privilege for anybody to stand there or come to watch you do something.
Yeah.
How dare I not be prepared? How dare I not be prepared when especially with all the no's, especially when I know how hard it is.
Right.
Everybody doesn't get to do what we do.
Yeah.
It's sacred ground
It
to
is.
me. And
It
I was
is.
taught by the OGs, like when you walk up on that stage or when you're on set, you better be at your best.
At your
right?
best.
Because nobody like you it's just I'm just so grateful because I was trained by those people who told me you need to be, this is sacred ground.
Yes.
And so when I get to act for people, I go in.
Yeah.
Because I'm blessed.
Yes.
That's so good.
Some people don't ever work.
Right.
Yeah.
And I am blessed because I've been a working actor since I've been young. I started off in theater. Like I was a theater baby.
Me too.
I've only been doing film and TV for about 10 years. You know, I was like, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
But then I was like, oh, you know, let me try to do that.
Where money is.
Let me do that, and you know, I got orders. Like, I don't want to remember all them, you know, and I love all the mediums. Now, when we talk about the non-negotiables and negotiables, I was like, oh, it's not non-negotiable.
Yeah.
Because there's art in that as well.
Yeah.
Actually, it's
depends on
negotiable.
How, right. Because
Yes.
acting is acting is acting.
Listen, we were at a mutual friend's house. We were at a party or something a few months ago, and I was like, Tonya, was that you in the skits? And she was like, I can tell, because I am one of those actors that's borderline. I too am a theater baby, theater trained. Like I was groomed by the OGs too. Like I take this is a craft I take serious. I don't be fooling around with it.
Right.
So I'm also come from that school, but I'm also in the social media world, so I also understand social media, skits, and, you know, creating in that lane as well. So I'm kind of a mixture of both.
Yes.
But I can tell the energy. She was like, "Yeah, that was me. I did a few."
That's so funny.
Yeah, and I could tell you were like, "Oh yeah, I did a few." Like, you know what I mean? But I love that. Speaking of, actually, it's negotiable. I love that you went from, yeah, no, that's not really for me, to no, like this is where the industry's kind of moving. I understand how beneficial this is and how advantageous this is for my career. So I'm gonna go, even at my age, at my tenure, with my long resume, I'm still gonna go do this over here just to see what it's like.
Great.
Yeah.
Like it was not, because again, you know, we can be like theater baby, we're kind of snobbish.
Oh, for sure,
You
snobbish.
know, what are those? We're like
things
what
over
is that?
there.
Yeah.
Oh, heavens no.
I'm not doing a commercial.
For
you know,
sure.
but not when I saw it was not that.
Yeah.
And I see all the actors on there. And actually, Mike Bless.
Shout out to Mike Bless.
Shout out to Mike Bless. Because when I tell you, he sat us down, and the way that he talked about it and explained it to me, he said, I've got it, because I was there too.
Yeah, me too.
It made all the sense in the world. Now I watch it, I was like, y'all better do that.
Yeah, you're like, when are y'all calling me
When
back?
y'all calling me back? Yes. No, it's everything. It's everything. It's
I always
everything.
tell this story that Mike called me one day and was like, come do a skit. And I'm like, look, I don't want to do a skit. I literally dragged my feet, gave him every excuse why I couldn't come.
Yes.
This is before he started bringing all the actors. It was just him, Ro, Wayne, Blake. So they're like, Amber, come down. I'm like, nah, I want to. So finally he talked me into it. I'm not coming for money. I'm just really doing this as a favor to Mike.
Yeah.
I get there, Wayne sitting there. I don't even know who Wayne is. Hey, I'm just seeing this little guy. Like,
you in
okay,
trouble?
right, right. So I did my little skit, right? My little
The
skit.
skit. I know.
And so Wayne said, "You're pretty good. You think you can come back next week?" And I was like, okay. So the next week, the skit dropped, and I thought somebody hacked my Instagram because I had thousands of followers overnight.
Yeah.
And that little skit has now awarded me a place where I don't do anything else. Wow. I stopped being a loan officer.
Quit your job.
Quit my
at
job.
God.
I'm able to be at home with my little boy, spend time with him. I'm able to invest my time in my body butter business, my clothing business. And I work with Wayne, I mean, on a busy month, maybe 4 to 6 days out of the month, and I make a living.
Look at God.
I could just do Wayne, and not do my businesses, and be okay.
I'm proud of what they've done.
These
That's
little
right.
skits, and then I booked an agent. I've been booking movies. I have a movie. You know what I'm saying?
I was about to. You see me look at it. Girl, walk in this door and get you.
An independent film that just came out,
you can
Bronze Lens Festival last week. I booked an independent commercial, national commercial. So I'm like, all this from this
Little old skit.
Yes.
So it was actually negotiable because I was a theater actress.
So you know what I'm talking about.
Yes. And I just took a chance on God. As much as I was just like, I don't want to do this skit.
Right.
Yeah.
Little did I know what God had for me. And now my face is recognizable everywhere. And I'm playing the villain on this skit right now. But still, it's just like I've gotten more exposure than I ever have as an actor.
And I think that's just a testament of like not being so headstrong on these non-negotiables, because God will show you that some things are actually negotiable.
Exactly.
Tanya, you said something earlier when you were giving us your spiel in the beginning, which I was like, oh my gosh, she's giving us so much right now. I'm like, I wanted to jump in there.
Listen,
like,
I'm about to jump out of
I was
here.
about to jump out of here for sure. You said that you're a recovering addict.
Yes.
And I just relate to that side of your story so much because my mother is a recovering addict. I am a product of a drug baby. I'm a drug baby, and that's the politically correct term for it. I'm a drug baby.
Right.
But I watched my mom be a functioning addict for the first 18 years of my life. She was a functioning addict. She worked. Financially, I was always straight. But I felt like emotionally, I didn't have that emotional connection with my mom because she was working and she was doing her thing. She was out here. You know what I mean? Like, what was that journey like for you? How long have you been clean now? And like, what was just that transition?
That was the lowest point in my life. I think that the reason why I picked up, and I'm like your mom, I'm almost 19 years clean.
Clap it up for that.
Is because I worked a lot. Like, I'm serious, I was a working actor from thing to thing to thing. And then life happened and a bunch of personal things happened in my life. And a lot of people around me, I watched them use that as a coping mechanism. And you talked about running. I ran so hard from that thing that it caught me instead of facing it head on. Because I know that it was in me based on things around me.
Yeah.
I've done some things that I'll take to my grave. And I didn't know how to live life. I was a human doing. I wasn't a human being.
Ooh, yeah.
And if I wasn't working, if I wasn't on a stage or doing something, I felt like I had nothing. Like I was nothing. And so I always say that I lived two lives.
Yeah.
Because I never stopped acting. I would
even through your addiction.
I worked all through my addiction.
Wow.
But I would go out that back, like, thank y'all, and I would go out the back door. And I
Wow.
would hang out with gangbangers and dope dealers and all of that. I had like I was literally two different people.
You would go from a set or a stage, you'd be on stage,
Yeah.
functionally acting,
Yeah.
performing.
Yeah.
And then right when you off, when the
I'm
director
gone.
yells cut, you're
It was
out
like two different people.
in a whole different world.
A whole different world.
Wow.
I lived two different, like, it was crazy. That's why I'm adamant about, people say, oh, you're honest. I'm adamant about integrity. I'm adamant about showing up. I'm adamant about who I am.
Because you've been there.
Because I've been there.
On both sides.
Right. And so I never want to go back there. So secrets die in the light of exposure. Right. And so I have no choice but to live my life out loud. Because if I go back into that dark world, then that could take me out.
Yeah.
I'm very aware of my triggers.
Yeah.
Right. And it was just started off as a party at first. I was just partying. But then the bar closed and there I sit. Then everybody's like, girl, you still here. Like, literally, I would be getting high all night long and then go to the theater. And they'd be like, girl, and there would always be something. Like, I've had guns put to my head. I've jumped out of moving cars.
Wow.
And I'll be all banged up. They'd be like, girl, where you been? Oh, nothing. And get on the stage and do an August Wilson piece.
Wow.
A full-blown monologue.
Hold on.
Full-blown 2 or 3
First of all,
hours.
it's hard to do August Wilson sober.
Coming up and just be like, okay, what did you do? Girl, don't worry about last night. And I would hit it. I remember, like, I was just, like, when I talk about being a human doing, like, I remember, and like, I'm so honest, but this will help somebody. I remember being on stage and I miscarried. I was doing Raising Inside. I was miscarrying on stage. I didn't know that because I didn't know I was even pregnant. I thought that I could just go in the bathroom, push it out, and go back and finish the show.
Oh my gosh.
And they're like, no, you have to go to the hospital. Like, that's how I didn't value me. That's why I value me now. Like, I had to be doing something. And I think that's what took me to the using.
I'm sorry, when you just said I didn't value me.
No.
That just struck a nerve.
No.
Because there's so many of us that go through life and there's seasons of our life where we don't value us.
No.
All of us. And maybe our stories or your story is not as extreme as being, a user, or maybe you weren't molested, or maybe you weren't raped. Maybe it's not that extreme, but all of us have a season where we didn't value us.
No.
And
No self-esteem.
Man.
People I'm talking about like working myself back up. I had zero. There was none.
So it wasn't even low self-esteem. It was no
none.
self-esteem.
Everything was attached to a thing or a doing or, me being something. And if I wasn't, I literally didn't know what to do because I worked all the time. So when I wasn't working, I was like, what do you do with downtime? So I understand when people say on Hollywood, they use it, because if you're working all the time and you don't know how to balance your life, and then drugs are introduced to you, that's your downtime.
Wow.
The coke is my downtime. Mm-hmm. The booze is my downtime. Mm-hmm. The running the street, walking to these dark with no destination. That was my downtime. And then I would come and be, okay, I'm somebody now because I'm performing for people. But what happens when the people stop clapping? What happens when the theater's dark? Who are you? Jesus. And that's why I'm adamant. When I coach and when I mentor, you better live your life. You cannot have this as just your own. You better love your friends, your family, your husbands, your trips. You have to. You cannot just do this, because if you just do this, you're nothing without it. Ooh. You have to be, I'm all right. Now, yeah, okay, if it's a good role, of course I wanted to book that, and the money, it was good. It was going to put me somewhere. But my
it doesn't define me.
It doesn't define me. It can't define me. Because if it defines me, then I'm back out there.
Man.
I define me. God defines me. My children, my grandchildren, my man. Sometimes man.
On a good day.
On a good day. You know what I mean? And so it's all of my friends, my loved ones, the things that I do in my life outside of this.
Man.
That's just as important to me as booking a job. It has to be. Tanya's important. I'm somebody.
Yeah.
I'm important.
Yeah.
Outside of booking.
Yeah. Yeah.
With or without a job, I'm good.
That's good, Tonia.
I have to be.
That's good, Tonia.
Because it's dangerous for me not to be.
Woo! Wow. It's dangerous. It is dangerous for me not to be. Wow. Something you said reminded me of a Rudy Francisco quote. Rudy Francisco is a phenomenal poet. He says, I'm still learning to love the parts of me no one claps for.
That part.
That part.
You have to.
You have to learn to love the parts of you no one claps for, especially as an actor, as an entertainer, as an influencer, someone whose face and likeness and brand is out there. Yeah. You have to learn to love the parts of you that people are not applauding for.
Right. Because you're going to be found out.
Yeah.
We all wear masks, right? Today I probably have 2 of them on. But sometimes there's about 15 of them on. The mask must go.
At some point.
Because you're going to be found out.
Yeah.
Because it's not sustainable.
Right.
It's not sustainable to be that all the time.
Come on, preach.
Tanya.
Somebody gonna see you with your socks and shoes up. Like somebody gonna catch you wrong.
And sometimes you don't even have to be caught. Sometimes I could just see it in the first 5 minutes because I've already been through so much ish and it.
Do you see?
That I see you before you even think you coming at me. I already see you, babe.
See you coming.
Take that makeup off.
Take it off.
Yes.
Take that makeup off.
And let's see what you look like.
Man.
And that's what I'm talking about.
Take the makeup off so I can see what you look like. That is deep. So most people, that's going to go over their head. They don't even know what that means.
Right. It's a metaphor.
They don't even know what that means.
It's not even about the foundation.
It's not even about the foundation.
Exactly.
It's about all that stuff you done built up over your trauma, over your fear, over your doubt, over your guilt. All that makeup you done put on top of there. Take it off so I can see what you look like. Yeah. Take it off so you can see what you look like because you don't even know who you are without that foundation on.
That's the most important
That's good.
thing. Because this thing will eat us alive.
Man.
We've seen it.
Yes.
If you don't know who you are in this industry, they'll tell you.
Oh, man.
Moving to Atlanta. We'll tell you who you are if you don't know who you are.
Facts.
Man.
Big Atlanta, facts. You better know who you are because they'll give you an identity.
Our producer in the back said, yes, that right there.
I've seen it happen to people.
Yeah.
You better know it. And also, I think the people who I gravitate toward in this industry, the actors, the artists that I love the most, they know who they are.
Yeah.
Viola Davis knows exactly who she is.
Right.
She knows exactly who she is.
I'm the same. The people around me who I grasp to the most, they are people who are certain in who they are. They are rooted in who they are. I gravitate towards those people because it's a level of realness and authenticity that most people just don't possess because most people have not sat down to look in the mirror and said, what do I need to rid myself of?
Yes. And that's what I was going to ask. Like, so you both are very strong and I know who I am. We talked about Viola Davis. What about the person who, even, through our friendship and all that, I have come to a place where I'm starting to learn and not even learn, but be confident in who I am. Yeah. Right. How does a person get there? How does a person who says, I don't know who I am, I'm confused. I don't, how do they get to that place where they can take the mask off, not be ashamed, not be, ridiculed and just say, okay, this is who God made me. How do you get to that place where you just know that you know who you are?
No, it takes work. Yeah. It's everyday work.
It's
like, what do you do in the morning before you walk outside?
Right.
Like, I can tell if I haven't prayed, meditated, gone to God, maybe if I'm having a really, really bad day, call one of my friends, whatever that is to center myself before I walk out the door.
Yeah.
Because that language is there. Mm-hmm. Like, I will cuss you out is there, but I will also bless bless you, I was there. And who am I going to lean into today? And it's just about that. It's the internal work that I do.
Save but not soft. Save but not soft. Please believe it.
Try me.
Yeah, it's all that work. And I always talk about shadow work. I always talk about the journaling. I always talk about the gratitude journal. I have one of my mentors, God rest her soul, I would call and I would be going through something. She said, okay, where's the gratitude journal? And then where's the obituary? Write about what you want people to say when you pass and live that way.
Wow.
What do you want them to say about you? And live that way.
Yeah.
That is an awakening. If you pass today, what would people say about you? Ooh.
Yeah, that's what she would say. And I would feel better. I'd be like, okay. And then we talk a little bit and I get off the phone and I would do it and I would feel better. Because then I have a goal to treat people how I want to be treated.
Yeah.
To really show up with an open heart as a genuine person. Really what you see is what you get.
Yeah. Sure.
Like I am kind.
Yeah.
I'm honest. You're not going with me, but I'm also a beautiful soul and I'll give you anything that I can.
Yeah.
Right. And that's just from work. It's just internal work. I always say that you have to put pen to paper. You have to take a real pen and put it to some real paper.
Real paper and make it real.
Yeah. And it's every day.
Yeah.
And I think it's a lifelong journey.
Yeah.
Come on. Every day, I don't feel my best, like, oh, I need my hair done, or I'm looking kind of crazy, or I don't feel whatever. But that's just external stuff, right? Yeah. But am I good on the inside? And it's just internal work.
Yeah.
It's just, that's the only thing that's what I do.
Sure. That's good.
And what's that day look like for you? Because sometimes I feel like, I can get so busy, like, oh Lord, I didn't pray or I didn't meditate, or how do I get this in? How do I get the journal in? With your days being so busy with acting, how do you have a schedule?
I get up 2 hours earlier. Anybody who knows me, I can't do anything like, okay, here I come. No. If I have to be somewhere at 10, I probably get up at 7.
Okay.
Because I need time with myself, and I'm a coffee drinker, so don't even say nothing.
I make my coffee.
I got like, why are you talking? I ain't had no coffee.
Yeah.
So then I do the work, and then I go about getting dressed and all of that kind of stuff, and then at night. Doing that, and that's from recovery. The inventory for the day. I bought into that, and so I do that. But I just get up earlier, even when I'm tired. And
I know this is God talking to me, because literally all of my friends and associates who are super successful, far more successful than I am, they all say their life changed when they started getting up early.
You got to get up early.
And I'm like, I know God is wrestling with me to get up earlier.
This child.
Because if I have to be somewhere at 10, I am waking up at 9:07.
I would never make it. I don't even know how I would never make it.
I am pulling up
I'm not
at
judging.
9:59.
I don't know how to do that.
I need to get up earlier. And when Amber was saying, like, what do you do? I know I'm off kilter when I don't work out. I feel my best when I'm on my workout regimen. Yeah. When I start my morning, so for me, it's worship music in the morning and working out. Yes. When I get on my worship music in the morning, shout out to Victor Thompson, that's what I listen to every morning. That's how I start my day. But if I do that, but then I don't work out, I feel off. I'm like, ugh. Or when I let myself get into a 2-week span of not working out, I am funky. I am like, oh, I'm down. My energy's down. I don't feel good about me. I'm not doing the self-work. I'm falling into these funks. And I know it's like, Ernestine, you know what your thing is. Your thing is working out. Yep. So if you don't find the time to wake up earlier to get that workout in, or get that workout in before you go to sleep, or even if it's going outside just to jump rope, you got to get that. You got to get that in. So it's like whatever it is for you, or whatever it is for you watching, like whatever that thing is for you that gets your mojo going, you got to be committed to that. You have to stay committed to that.
It's a routine.
You have to do your routine.
Yes. It's just routine.
Yeah. It can't be like, oh, I did it once on Monday, now I'm good. It's like, nope, you got to do it again Tuesday, you got to do it again Wednesday, you got to do it Thursday, you know what I mean? And if you fall off Friday, that's cool, but get back up on Saturday and do it again, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And I'm the type of person who puts me on like, do this for 20 days. Now I'm on this gratitude meditation. Okay. And I have about 11 more days. And I'm like so grateful for everything, and then I'll go on to the next, because I get bored. Like I'm like, okay, I'm done.
All right, I'm done with this one. We did that one. Because we're creatives and it's like, all right, get that one.
Okay, girl. Yeah. So now then I'll go to the next thing, but I stick to it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And if I don't work out, then I'll do yoga. Yeah. Because I get bored. Yeah. So I was like, okay, I did that. Let me do yoga. Let me do something. Because we got to keep the body right. Because like you said, we're not going to be okay.
Yeah, we're not. And then we're actors too. So we're not like normal people. No. So like normal people who have like normal jobs where they're clocking in. So it's like, our being, our body, our presentation, how we're presented is also part of our business card.
Exactly.
Yes.
It is part of how we market ourselves. So like, you gotta stay in shape. You gotta eat right. You gotta do the meditation. You have to, because you never know.
Well,
You never know when you're gonna get that phone call.
Never.
You never know when, in this industry.
Yeah.
You never know when you're gonna get a phone call. Hey, I need you to audition. Hey, I need you to get on a Zoom. Hey, I need you to come to this meeting tomorrow. Or just simply being at the events.
All
Being at
of
the
that.
events is part of your
It's
business
a part
card.
of the networking.
Yeah.
And I also don't like, in just regular life outside of acting, I don't like the way I'm treated when I'm not presented right.
Yeah.
Like if I'm just throw myself together, people, I'm like, why are you so rude?
Yeah.
You know, like I don't know what it is, the optics of that.
is.
People treat you horribly.
They do.
And I mean, sometimes I can be like, girl, whatever.
Yeah.
But I just like the way, that's why I get up early, because I want to make sure everything, because I want to be treated a particular way. And I don't know why people do that, but it's like, let me put myself together.
It's like when you hear pretty people privilege. Like when the prettier you are and feel, the more you get treated better. It's true. If you have on your nice suit and your nice clothes and you're polished and your hair's done and your nails done and you get treated better by the atmosphere.
So
Which is why
weird.
my mom would never let us leave the house looking crazy. She'd be like, wipe the soles of them shoes down before you leave, or make sure your face is greased down. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
But it's that whole thing about, you know, people treating you the way that you treat yourself. Is they're going to respect you because they see that you respect yourself.
And I think that's big. I love that.
That's it. That's
exactly.
it.
They say, oh, she took the time to put her, I better come correct.
Yes.
Because if she took that time
It's
for
like,
herself.
yeah, you have to come correct when they came correct about them.
good.
So
Exactly.
your energy speaks for you before your mouth does.
Yes.
Your energy, your aura, your presence, how you present yourself speaks in a room before you do.
Right.
good.
And that's just it right there.
That's good.
She will always say to me, Amber, you walk in, you have such a big presence. And I always talk about this, but I had this moment and she just pulled me out of a funk because my mental wasn't matching the exterior.
Yes.
But it's that thing, it brought me back to what you were saying. I was human doing and not human being.
That's so good.
I could come in the room and be like, I'm here, I'm beautiful, I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
But inside I'm like, did anybody see me? I hope you don't see what I really feel, you know?
Yeah.
So it was that human doing. I love that.
Yeah.
That hit hard for me. Am I human doing or am I human being? Right.
Tonia, how have you kept your composure during all of this journey, during the crying nights, the fetal position nights, the times when you got told no, the rejection, the acting, the drugs, the this, the that? Like, it seems like, and I'm obviously an outsider, but when I see you, when I see your brand, when I see you out, when I see you on stage, when I see your social media page, it just seems like you have found a tool to keep your composure through all the storms. Do you feel that way?
Most days, God in my circle.
Yeah.
God in my circle.
Yeah.
I mean, that's all I can say. I have some beautiful people around me.
You do.
That hold me up and they love me for real.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like in a real way.
Yeah.
Like I always, you know, it's funny because when I stopped using, my phone log changed and I didn't do it. I was like, what? All of the people, there's beautiful people in my life that I can call that will get up and come get me in the midnight hour.
Yeah.
And I'm not kidding.
No,
the
I know.
Margos, the tequilas.
The
tequila
tequila
will fight you for me.
Listen.
And she will fight.
Listen, I will fight you for tequila.
Tequila and me too,
because
yeah.
tequila is one of those people, and that's how we're connected through
Yeah.
tequila. And
Yeah.
Amber's, I don't think Amber's met her, but she's heard me talk about her several times.
Everything.
Tequila has been, I remember a time where I didn't have any money in my account and I had a boot on my car.
Yeah. She's everything.
And it just, you get emotional when you talk about people like that because my mom used to always say, you're lucky if you have one real friend in life, one.
Yes.
And I have a good 5 that I know pull up about me.
Listen.
And I remember that time where I didn't have no money to get this boot off my car and tequila pulled up. We got that boot off my car. She paid for it. Like, you have to have the tequilas and the people like that in your circle.
Yes.
And it's really a blessing that I don't take for granted that there are a good, strong 5 people in my life that I'm like, yo, they don't play about me.
No.
They don't play, and I don't play about them. And that's one of the keys to life too, is when you do have those people in your life who know your journey, know all your stuff, your faults, your flaws, and they love you anyway.
Yeah.
And they go to war for you.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't trade those people for the world. I was just talking to a friend, the other day about, like, we were talking about friends that like have followings and influence. And I'm like, none of that don't mean nothing to me. No. I got friends with 10 million followers. I got friends with 30 million followers. And I got friends with 2 followers who will pull up about me.
Yep.
Right.
I don't care about the influence, what you do, how much money you make.
Right.
What's your integrity?
Yes.
Who are you as a person?
Yes.
Will you pull up about me, even through my flaws, even through my gook, even through my funk? Are you still pull up about me? Because I'll pull up about you. Those are the only people I want in my life. And when you have those people in your life, you hold on to them because it's something really God blessed you with. It's a blessing. It's an offering. It's a gift.
Such a blessing.
Yes.
Like, and I didn't know that before.
Yeah.
You know, where you know, because I do have a thing where I will isolate because I don't like to, when I am going through hard times, because we all do. Come on, not Pollyanna.
Yeah.
But I have, and I'll shut down because I don't like to give people my stuff. I like to work it out with me and God. Sometimes, I mean, I call and I do all the things.
Yeah.
And I have a friend who's like, okay, it's been a week. If you don't answer that door, if you don't pick this phone up, I'm coming over there. And then if you don't answer the door, I'm calling the police. Like, I'm coming, I'm pulling up. Like, you need to pick this phone up, even if the phone is heavy.
Man.
And I say, okay, let me call this lady because she gonna come over my house and, you know, I'm looking at her. You know, we'll show up.
I will show up about you. And here's
I
the thing.
said, child, if you don't stop blowing your phone up,
I done
I'm
blew
like
her
that
up
too. I'll
once.
shut down.
Yeah.
She done tried to shut down over some dumb stuff. I done blew her phone up. She not picking up.
my doorbell.
Yeah. So she lives an hour and 5 minutes from me. I live on the south side. She live on the north side. I pulled up. But I think that's like, I am the type of friend to you that I want you to be to me.
Yes.
Because there's been so many times you have friends who are catty or nasty, who don't pull up, who talk about you behind your back, who are secretly jealous of you. We've all experienced that. But when you have people in your life who will pull up, I want to know, will you pull up about me?
Right.
I want to know when I go silent, when I go dark, when I'm in my little funk, will you come to my house and check on me?
Right.
I have two friends who told a story about how one of them was in their little funk. And the other one said, well, I'm coming over. And they said, well, I don't want you to come over. She said, well, I'm going to wait in the driveway until you're ready to come out. That's the only type of people I want in my life.
Yeah.
Will you wait in my driveway until I get out of my funk? I need those type of people in my life.
Yeah.
And to have those, and I know you have those in your life.
Oh, dear God.
And those people have saved me time and time again. That's why I'm so like, I am a girl power type of girl because I'm like,
too.
yo, I lit my girlfriends.
Yes.
I would not be where I'm at.
Yes.
If it weren't for the Tequilas of the world, the Terry J. Vons of the
Yes.
world, the people who I know got me. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
that means
friends
something.
and family. I
And
got family members like that. My daughter, Lord have mercy, don't mess around with her mama.
Yeah.
My son, you know, my aunts, everybody. Like we're just tight knit. And but when we're talking about our friends, it's definitely everything you said. I'm listening, just nodding.
Yeah.
You know, because it's a beautiful thing. People don't even understand, and I don't. And don't let me get in trouble for this, but women who say they don't like women, I'm not going to be your friend.
Not going to be your friend.
I'm not going to be your friend.
Yeah.
Because that tells me something about you.
You.
What don't you trust about yourself?
Yeah.
I don't trust nobody with my man. Well, okay, I get that. Don't be doing all that. But I'm still saying, like, you should be able to. I have friends who I can trust with him. Don't nobody, you know, they
Yeah.
don't want him.
Yeah.
They got their own.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And so it's that. Like,
You know what
just
also is weird for me too? Not just women who say, oh, I get along with men more than women. There's those women. But then there are women like, if you don't have a tenured friendship around you, I question you.
Yeah.
And when I meet people like, and you don't have no friends that you've had for more than 5 years, I'm like, you don't have no friends that you haven't had for more than 5.
Right.
So is it something about you, or have you just attracted the wrong people your whole life? Because if you don't have tenured friendships, and I'm not saying because they're going to chop this up, and I'm not saying that everyone has to have all these whole host of friends, but if you don't have one friend in your life or one associate in your life who like you don't have no type of tenure with, I'm a little,
Isn't that weird?
I'm a little sketch about you if you don't have.
She asked me that right away. Who are your friends?
Yeah.
Where are they? You know, and we've been friends for 10 years, 10, 11 years. And we knew each other.
We knew each other for 10 years.
I shouldn't say we've been friends. We knew each other for 10 years. So when we started to develop our friendship, that was one of the first questions she asked me. And I told her, I was like, you know, I don't have a whole lot of friends here in Atlanta. But I was very honest. I said I wasn't always the best friend. I wasn't always a good friend.
Yeah.
But
That's good.
Yeah, but it took, you know, you talking about the source and things like that. I had to start looking at myself like, why am I losing these friendships?
Yeah.
Because they still friends and they still friends.
Oh, wow.
But they're not friends with me.
Right.
So it wasn't until you talking about the work that I started doing the work and I didn't even start doing the work right away. I just got on my knees. I just said, God, I don't know what it is. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I don't know how to fix this, but I know you do.
Yeah.
And the work came later. It was, learning, people or being introduced to people who are therapists and things like that who helped me start to really understand myself. But when I didn't know what to do, I didn't know the work. I didn't know why I was doing certain things. I just got on my knees. I said, God, I need you.
Yeah.
Because I need my village. And I'm like, whatever that looks like, if it's one person or 3 people, I just need you to bring the real people who gonna love me through my funk.
Yeah.
And literally, those who did not belong in my life dropped off.
Started dropping like flies.
And those who I had disconnected with but truly loved me came right back on in. And we like this. And it's like my friend I was talking about earlier, we were talking about my friend's daughter before this podcast. She's one of those friends. We had kind of fallen out, but we didn't really fall out. It was just, we weren't aligning in that moment, but she still loved me through my mess. And she's right back in my corner and I'm in hers. And now she's going through stuff and I'm right there. And it's like, because we were able to talk about the situation and understand where we were mentally, emotionally, it's like we were able to accept each other's flaws and just continue to lift each other up. And now I can say I am finally starting to have real, true, solid friendships in my life. Ernestine being one of them. And even with she and I, we have offended each other several times. I know I have. I know she's like, Amber, I told you not to say that. You know what I'm saying? What is going on? And I'm like, you know what? I could be the old Amber and be like, well, no, Ernestine, I'm sorry. Child, you made me mad and I said what I said.
Yeah.
You know, but she's taught me about truth and my father teaching me about honesty and just, it's so much easier to
just
have
be honest.
To be honest.
Then the lie, you gotta keep up with
you
all
gotta
that
keep
stuff.
up. Listen, I'm not keeping up with no lies. I've been there, done that. I'm not keeping up with no lies and dates and time. Listen, it is what it is. And I feel like if you live your life authentically and you live in that level of truth, it is a weapon that just really can't be messed with. Like you can't mess with me because I'm gonna tell you the truth.
I couldn't get to that place until I accepted me and all of me.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Like I couldn't get to a place of true honesty until I was like, yo, Ernestine, I messed up. Like, sorry, I'm human. Like before I was trying to be so perfect. Trying to be perfect everything. Let me cover this up. Let me do this. Because I don't want you to be upset with me. I don't want you to think I'm not a good friend. Well, you might think I'm not a good friend in that moment. And I'm sorry that I did what I did. But I am who I am. And I know I always talk about God's grace being enough, being sufficient. And so it wasn't until I really started loving me that I was able to be honest with those around me. And I understand, and they could recognize that I love me, so they love me even more. That whole thing about people treating you the way you treat yourself.
Yes. And you truly, you teach people how to treat you by how you treat yourself and how you treat them.
Yeah.
It's like if I'm coming to you direct and I'm being authentic and I'm raising the bar, raising the frequency, you really have no choice but to meet me up here.
Yeah.
Because if you meet me down here, then we're going to disconnect anyway. Because I don't operate in that realm. I operate in a realm up here.
Right.
So you will attract those who are operating your realm and your frequency when you hold yourself to a certain standard.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's so good.
And so just speaking of holding yourself to a certain standard, when it comes to this industry, now that you know what you know, and you know that like this industry doesn't define me, my resume doesn't define me, like everything that I've been through and what God has pulled me through, that defines me and I define me. What standard have you set for yourself now in this industry?
I'm clear about what I want to do and what I don't want to do. I know my why.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, I wiggle around and play around a little bit. Like, I do that. That's
Actually, it's negotiable.
Yeah. But I'm just clear about who I am.
Yeah.
I'm clear about who I am in the industry. I'm clear about where I'm going in the industry. I don't let my age define me.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, I'm this age and this particular thing hasn't happened, but look at all this other stuff that has happened.
Yeah.
And look at how far it's got me and look at where I'm at. Like, look, I'm sitting here, like you interview me saying I'm somebody. You know?
And you are.
Yeah. I mean, but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, it's very surreal. All this stuff, especially, with who I used to be, like all of these moments are things that I dreamed about, but that are very surreal to me. But I'm just clear. I'm more clear than I've ever been. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay. Like, I'm just very clear and I'm just happy. No matter where I am, of course, we want to be bigger. We want more of this and more of that. But I'm happy that I am somebody here today in this industry.
Yeah, you are.
Whether I'm known by 2 people or 2 billion people,
Right.
I'm known for good things.
For sure.
Exactly.
For sure.
And that's what I've always wanted.
Yeah.
Like to be known for positive positivity and good things, and my young people who I'm around and who look up to me and stuff like that. That just fills my heart. And I guess that's just it. You know, I'm rambling a bit, but I'm just
how do you feel? What are the tools that you use when you, because we're all human, of course, and we're actors. We always want more. There's just no actor who doesn't want more. I don't care if you're Denzel, you still want more.
Right.
How do you feel when you get the Viola comparisons, or you see your peers booking this and booking that? Like, how do you deal with that? Like, what tools do you use to confront that and push through?
The Viola comparisons happens all the time. And when I tell you I love Viola Davis, like I do, so I can see why they would say that. And I've been fortunate enough to meet her before, like way before she was like the Viola Davis back, and at Penumbra Theater Company. And I just always tell myself, like, she's Viola and I'm Tonia. And of course I take stuff from her. Like, she paved the way. Like, she's doing stuff that I haven't done yet. And I absolutely know she's queen, but I absolutely know that I am too. And I have my own thing that I do. And I sort of just say, well, I'm Tonia Jackson, that's Viola Davis, and that's beautiful. The comparison, it's an compliment. I was like searching, like, there's so that's a compliment. But I am myself. And I think I just like everybody else. No, here's the thing. It depends on the role, on how sad I get. You know what I mean? It's got to be something to make me feel a particular way. And mostly, it's not just connected to money. It's connected to the stories I want to tell. Like, oh my God, it's never just, I wanted that role. It's, I wanted to tell that story. That's what it's always about with me. Because I'm a storyteller. You know what I mean? I always just want to be connected to a beautiful story. Good writing, good production team.
Craftsmanship.
The craft of it. And who's in the room. Like, I wanted to be in the room with that team of people. You know, that's what it's mostly about. If I get sad, it's about the team and the work and the story.
That's one thing I love about you. And craftsman comes to mind because so many of us in the social media world, like, there's so many people that wake up and just want to be famous. And there's plenty of other ways you can be famous. Acting is not the first thing that I can think of, because there's plenty of other things you can do to get you famous a lot quicker. So I just love that craftsman in you. I admire that in you. I want to be just like that. And that's why I take my craft so serious. Like, I don't play about the craft
at all.
Like, I still read the books. I still go to the plays. I still study. I still take classes. I teach classes. You know what I mean? I love that. It just reminds me of the saying, the cream will rise to the top. The cream will always rise, babe. So the followers won't mean anything. The influence won't mean anything unless you're the cream. The cream will always rise to the top. So this has been a phenomenal episode. Jeez, we got to have a part 2 with you, Tonia. We need a whole series on you. But we hope you enjoyed this episode with Miss Tonia Jackson.
Thank you.
The Thee, Tonia Jackson. And like every episode, we end on the word of the day and something that's negotiable. And actually, it's negotiable. So before we get into the word of the day, we're going to ask you, I'm going to throw a scenario out there, and you let us know if it's negotiable, or actually, you let us know if it's non-negotiable, or if it's actually negotiable. So you're on set. The director says, if you take your clothes off in this scene, you'll be a megastar. Is it non-negotiable?
And you make 20 million.
and you making 20 million. Is it non-negotiable, or is it actually it's negotiable?
It depends on if it's the story. Like, what does it have to do with anything?
So it's actually negotiable.
It's actually negotiable
depending on the story.
That's a hard one. That's not fair. Because I just thought about my mama. Like if my mom would be like, why you have to get naked? Like, so. You know, I think about my family, like, that's hard. Because for me, if it was just me in the world and I didn't like care about what like my family, I would say
actually it's negotiable.
Because if it feeds the story, if it's necessary to move that story, and it's good and it's juicy and it's, oh my God, it's world changing and life changing, I would probably do it. But if it's not that, no,
if it was
you don't
sex scene.
No, they don't need to see all that. Like,
so the answer is actually it's negotiable. If it moves the story and if it's a powerful piece and it's part of the craftsmanship, then actually it's negotiable.
If it's part of the, it's got to be really a part of it.
I love that. Okay. So we all know life and death lies in the power of the tongue. So we are going to end on the word of the day. And Amber has the word of the day today.
Well, it's so funny. I'm always searching for the word of the day. Like, Lord, give me the word. And it's it's so funny. I'm always talking about confirmation, God giving us confirmation. So meeting you and hearing your story, I'd already picked the word before I heard your story. And so the word of the day is impregnable, which means unable to be defeated or destroyed. Wow. And I just feel like that is your story.
Yeah.
You have been through so much, but you were impregnable in your life. You were not able to be defeated or destroyed.
That's good.
Gosh, thank you.
That's good.
Thank you.
Yes.
I received that too.
Like we can split it.
Right. You take half, I'll take half.
I'll take a third.
I received it. All right, guys, this has been another phenomenal episode. Tonia, you have been amazing. I can't wait till you're able to share your big news and we all get to see it when all these crazy strikes are over and we can actually talk about things, because we're not actually talking about it right now.
Not talking about it.
But this has been a phenomenal episode, and we will see you next week with another episode of Actually, It's Negotiable.